Mr. Mahesh Bhatt has been the inspiration and the visionary for a program we're presenting today called The Third Eye. And The Third Eye is modeled after Hollywood Health and Society at the University of Southern California in Los Angeles.
Well, Sandra, before I start, while you are making a presentation, there's something that struck me and I think I should read it out. He says that anything that is complex is not useful and anything that is useful is simple. This has been my life's motto. And the guy who said this is Mikhail Kalashnikov, the man who invented the AK-47. So I think what we need as entertainers is something which is very simple, because simplicity is what the great Einstein said is the essence of all good work. If you cannot explain it to a 6-year-old kid, then there's something flawed in your work. And that's why we learned this word KISS, keep it simple, stupid. So I think you kept everything simple, and even a stupid person like me in the last row could understand what you're talking about. I was reading out to Sony this morning before I was suffering from stage fright. I was wondering how I should begin this. I was reading out something which I read out at a scientific forum in Delhi a few months ago, which I think is important to kind of set the tone to what we may discuss today. You asked me, what is it that made me do what I do? So I think it may give you an insight to what you're asking. At the core of every human being, there is a revolt against that which is fixed. And I think that's what brings all of us here under one roof. The wandering, searching life is just too deep a part of our genetic memory for us to forget it completely. It is hard for me to say where my own nomadic tendencies come from. All my life I had the sense of a wandering God within me. But there is no romance in this kind of life. It's just a hard slog of putting one foot in front of the other and hoping you will land on solid ground. There is no salvation on this path, only questions, indications, and possibilities. That's why when Chris said that what Third Eye gives you is pointers, and I think that was something which stayed with me. But there's no other way I've been able to live, and that is why I'm happy beyond your imagination to be a part of this forum, which hopes to ignite our creative fires and provide the entertainment industry with authentic data, which can be used to create superior, quote-unquote, entertainment products in these demanding times. But in order to do that, we in the entertainment business, we will have to bring doubt into the arena. Doubt, which has been looked upon by culture as a sign of weakness, requires more courage than conviction does and needs more energy. Conviction is a resting place, doubt is infinite. No wonder then even the mystics value darkness. Darkness is doubt, and doubt was their sniffing hound on the trail for truth. Two Christian mystics of great repute, Teresa of Avila and John of the Cross, spoke at length of the dark night of the soul. They spoke about arriving at light through darkness, not by negating darkness. A society which is not decorous enough to concede to itself that we are billions of times more ignorant than knowledgeable is doomed. The seekers all through the dawn of time have uncovered an interesting paradox, that knowledge and insight accumulate fastest in the minds of those who hold an ignorance-based worldview. Knowledge imposes a pattern and falsifies, for the pattern is new in every moment, and every moment is a new and shocking valuation of all that we have been before. No two leaves are the same. No two snowflakes are the same. It's only when we recognize this uniqueness of every moment in every individual that we realize the true wonder of life. Isn't it a wonder that we have a Shagufta, we have a Ruvali, and we have a Rohan Joshi, and we are all here under the same roof, each unique, trying to confront the darkness that engulfs us, because these are dark times. We are at the place which you're going, journeying towards Bodh Gaya. We had 20 to 27 children who had died out of poisoning. We have had the worst devastation, ecological disaster in Uttarakhand. We're still trying to lock eyes with the devastation. We've not even begun to look at it. So I think in such times, we as entertainers can do a lot through our vehicles of entertainment. And I think the young people who are here will be the torchbearers of what you hope to ignite in the industry. And I'm merely a facilitator, and I would be happy to do this. Can I ask you a question? I was sitting down the other day with the Chief Minister of Maharashtra. He was explaining to me, because he was on ground zero when the devastation, the Himalayan tsunami devastated that part of the world. And his face, because we had got together to put together, the industry was trying to put together a show to raise funds for the victims and engage with the government on a long-term basis. The expression of the minister said it all. He said, we have not even woken up to this fact that something called climate change. He says, what has happened a few years ago in Mumbai when the skies came down was climate change. What's happening there, what happened there is climate change. And I do not know where it is going to hit next. He says the tsunami was climate change. Even the great Buddha, it is said that in his narrative, when he was enlightened, he could only return into the world because there was this generous woman who gave him a bowl of rice. So they say, without grace, even the Buddha couldn't have done what he did. So we do need each other, and that's why we are all here. I need you, you need me. And that's what they say is grace. So I think now with the third eye, maybe God's grace is finally on us to, and we can perhaps use it effectively to make super hit products, but maybe they can also contribute to the lives of people. Because this is an age of disinformation more than the age of information. And we are struggling to find authentic data. The proverbial phrase was looking for a needle in a haystack. I think we're looking for a needle in a room full of needles. Each needle is claiming to be the authentic needle. So I think the problem of ours in this age of information is how to negotiate disinformation. And I only hope that the claims that we make, that the data we provide on the third eye is authentic, or at least we can say, so far this is what we have discovered. And then it's left to the writers and the directors and filmmakers to take it. So I think what is emerging is the obvious, that we are entertainers and we find it very difficult to do that. To entertain is not easy, it's very difficult to entertain. And anybody who's been in this business knows how difficult it is to keep somebody glued to the screen or the television screen. It's almost impossible, and yet it's amazing how we keep on trying. But there's no denying that the world around is getting more informed. Here in India, the younger generation, which has access to communication technology, they're getting literate. They know about things. They're more informed. So we, as storytellers, will have to be in sync with their understanding and give them stories which are built on the bedrock of some authentic data. And once it has the pulse, the throb, and the beat of truth, it will resonate. That doesn't mean that you're becoming a kind of an evangelist and crusading for a cause. We know that we are in the business. This is a film making is a business. And I don't think the mainstream cinema deludes after a reasonable time that they are not artists who have been called upon to change the world. They share their views, and they at the end of the day hope to sell tickets, and that's what I think Sandra very clearly said it in the very beginning, that we are not telling you what kind of movies to make, but here is a service, and if the service can be used by you when you tell your stories, then we would do it happily. I think that is the essence of what Third Eye is all about.
Mahesh, we'd like to hear a little bit, that you've had such an incredible journey in your career. My understanding is that early in your career, you started with one kind of film, and then you made a switch. And maybe you could talk about why, where you are today, and what you see coming for yourself in the future.
Well, I think there is no denying that the marketplace does impose its do's and don'ts on you. But that's the creative process. I mean, let's take, the limits are a reality. Even the birth takes place within a womb. The womb is a limited space, yet the dance of life begins there. And there's nothing like a landscape which has no boundaries. So there are cultural limitations. We all have to operate within that. But within that, you need to, as Rohan said, use the vehicle of humor and subversion. I think artists, or if I call them artists stroke business men, can subvert and make big money. For example, when I made a film which launched me from a certain depth when I began my career, when I made Art, which was semi-autobiographical, which dealt with schizophrenia, which dealt with the aspiration of women for self-sufficiency. I did have problems where everybody ganged up and said, you cannot take the narrative to the climax where you want to journey. You cannot show in a country like India, which is shackled with the tradition, and wave this flag that a woman can possibly walk on her two shaky feet without leaning on any man. Now, that was a watershed event in '83 when I did it. I perhaps had the suicidal gene in me, was just born with that kind of irreverence hardwired in me. So I did it, and I got away. And then I followed up with another film, which was Saransh, which questioned in a country like India, where sages and seers since the dawn of time have spoken about the theory of reincarnation. And it debunked the idea of an afterlife. And I did it in a production house where the patriarch was the custodian of a religious institution which propagated the idea of afterlife, the Rajshri production. But the fact is, I could be there in his institution and yet do what is called the inner job. That was real subversion. So I think I have got away, and I was delighted recently when I went to the IM, a premier institute in Delhi, where with the director, when I had now moved away 180 degrees to the other side of making what is called, I had started last 10 years till I make, Shagufta helped me make a transition to Ashiki, which got us what is called our respectability of making wholesome entertainment. Prior to that, we were making erotic thrillers. When I was saying that I must be given the right to make erotic thrillers, and I do not want to be pigeonholed by you into a kind of filmmaker, there was the guy, the director of the IM said that, look, I remember that at a very vulnerable phase of my life, I'm not a believer in the idea of God, but your film Saransh gave me the reason to go on. I was suicidal, and I had not seen that film, so that became a lifeline for me. And then I suddenly woke up, I said that, look, I have no business to demolish something which I have done just because I'm now doing something completely opposite. The truth about life is that opposite one profound truth is not a lie, but an equally profound truth. So the idea is, as artists, as human beings, whether we can look at the other and realize that that is as valid as the position that you have, and that is true plurality. And I think, and this country has always allowed that. I mean, in the holy city of Banaras, where you had the Hindus, sages talking about their worldview, there was Sarnath where Buddha came, the true iconoclast, and went completely against the whole idea. So that is real India. So I think what we need to do is, as writers, as filmmakers, as people from the civil society, live that plurality that we keep on talking about, which is going away. And I think the third eye to us will only give us more data and more fodder for us to keep the wheels moving.
Thank you. I'd like to conclude this panel. It's been fascinating. Thank you so much. We hope this is just the beginning.
Thank you.
Okay.